the real question, because what you illustrated earlier is that this composition definitely good in that mid to late transition, not necessarily the true early game in these laning phases.
Yeah. And we still don't actually know what build Pawn is going for here.
Sunfire Cape still looking likely.
Yeah, you made a joke about Sunfire Cape, but I'm thinking that it might not actually be a joke. Might just be getting Tank Akali with Fleet Footwork.
Look, I don't know, like, you can stand in your shroud and burn people. You remember the old Twitch strat? No, you started it.
Doesn't that just start revealing her with each burn tick?
Yeah, probably.
That sounds...
Do you remember what used to happen with Evelyn Twitch, though? You just walk around, build as many Sunfire Caves as possible.
That's
back when they stack.
Time.
Yeah, before your time, but it was a beautiful time. You could just be invisible.
Killing people.
And kill people. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Great. Season 1 was a weird and wonderful time on Summoner's Rift.
Unfortunately, I was still playing the wrong game back then.
Oh, feels bad.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, Def going to get flashed on here on the hunt. He's going to be popped as Tusen's trying desperately to catch up. Ultimate does go wide there from Life as now Ruler paying a lot of respect for Tusen. He's able to get himself out of the way, and Def somehow survives with Flash in hand.
Yeah, and that's really unfortunate for Gen.G. They're not able to get the kill there onto Def, and patience for him to hold the Flash is very disciplined.
And also able to pick up the wave afterwards as well. Using the healing that the passive of Alistair is going to give him, pretty comfortably stands back in that lane. So not a lot actually being given over to Gen.G, despite what looked like a pretty good gank, honestly.
And let's see if they can actually convert anything off of it. They are trying to go for an Infernal capture right now. Jax is in close proximity. Akali does have priority. Teleport not available for either top laner. Peanut taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, actually just sacks half of his health bar because they're not able to stay on that dragon. Gets a lot of it back though, having the smite ability on this blue buff, and that's going to be delivered over to Fly. So no harm, no foul. Cuz's turn to have a look at this dragon.
I think they want to capture it. We can see the Rascal moving down from the river. He's almost going to be in Scion ultimate range if Urgot even gets the slightest idea to try to contest this.
Yep, and so it's just not going to be contested. No way for QV to follow. This timing on the teleports was brilliant from Kingzone, so they get gifted a free Infernal Drip.
And that's a really big win when you have Jax, Akali, and Sivir on your team. Definitely Gen.G could have used that dragon a little bit more than Kingzone with all their champions, but now with no real neutral going to be available on the map for a while, Gen.G probably just going to want to sit back and try to scale up, unless they're going to try to go for some sort of a cheese onto the Herald.
Well, this is normally what you see, you know, when a dragon goes over for free, you expect the other team to be able to get some more priority on the Rift Herald, given a theoretical topside advantage. QV is still just trying his very best to beat the heck out of the Scion. It's going to be more and more frustrating for him as time goes on. Null Magic Mantle actually completed here for Rascal.
Definitely looks like he's going to be going Abyssal Mask.
Not necessarily the hugest amount of synergy for the Scion, but still an item that works.
Yep. And
will help if Cuz and Pawn are jumping on top of where the Scion is in order to get extra damage down. Of course, both of them very hybrid focused. Pawn's just trying to smack around Fly a little bit here. He's got real items.
Yeah.
Just to update you guys, it's not Sunfire Cape Rush. Hextech Revolver feels real good. Thankfully, Pawn actually going towards his first item spike. And Seeker's Arm Guard there just to keep himself alive in lane and scale a little bit with that minion-based extra armor and AP.
Pawn's itemization is like opening up the chests in the LoL.
Yeah.
The LoL client, you know, you never really know what you're going to get.
And sometimes it's just bad as well, you know. As our ultimate going to come out from Rascal.
Speaking about bad things, that
suboptimal use of his R button there is what we'd say. But what isn't suboptimal is getting 2 turret plates on the bottom side of the map. Deft able to utilize all of his shove as QV trying to prove who the better energy user is. Just bring another energy user into your lane. And that's a way to do it, as Pawn's playing very aggressively. Ignite down onto Peanut just to get him out of that lane. Ultimate going to be used. So Pawn using as many buttons as he possibly can and not really doing much with it.
Yeah, that was very interesting. to say the least. I'm not quite sure what was trying to be accomplished there. Lee Sin almost back to full HP, and now they're starting the Rift Herald.
This is in full vision, as you can see. Scuttlecrab is going to be down, as now we've got the full zoom out, spotting to see where everyone else is. This could be our first 5v5 of the game, and Rascal wishing he had that ultimate available. Pawn getting hit by a bunch of damage here as Gen.G do effectively take that one down, but can the fight actually be in their favor? Good Unbreakable denies a lot of damage. Glacial Fissure getting a couple of knockups, but this is a disaster. The pickup, the fear beyond death, and the cow gets turned into a steak. Now Pawn trying to get some damage down as well, but Gen.G fighting as a unit. Brilliant kickback, denies the decimating smash. And that is going to be Rift Herald and First Blood in the hands of Gen.G.
And this is a really big pickup for Gen.G. They were able to get a lot out of that fight. They killed Tushin. They managed to get some summoners out of Kingzone. They drew everyone to the Herald and didn't really lose anything. I actually thought that was going to go a lot worse for them than it just panned out doing. And, well, now with the Rift Herald, they should be able to get priority, especially around that mid lane. And the Infernal's coming up in a minute and a half. Taking another quick look at the replay. Cuz doesn't even try to contest the smite. Tushin came right in. Pawn exhausted. Deft was coming in for a flank, and Cube's ultimate not really getting the most value out of that Maelstrom, but Fly with that Fear Beyond Death able to lock up Rascal. Then Ruler able to get back into the back line, and it looks like Rascal just didn't pull the trigger on that Scion knockup. Got Dragon kicked away. Had that hit, it would have changed the entire outcome of the follow-up, but
didn't happen.
Now, yeah, Gen.G definitely in the driver's seat.
All right.
Okay. All right, well.
Yeah, Def not going to get hit by that one. All right, Ruler just looking for something here. Doesn't get anything, though. And that's just Peanut taking some free damage. He's going to have to go home, and now we're going to have an advantage for Kingzone despite Def's mana bar saying otherwise.
And I think that what Peanut was just trying to do there is keep Deft locked into the lane because Ruler was just coming off of a recall, and if you can do that, you can threaten the turret. The problem is that Deft has teleport. So it doesn't matter if you're keeping him into the lane. He can just actually simply recall and come right back. So don't totally understand the logic there. Infernal now is up. And like what we're seeing, Gen.G, they're the ones in the priority seat. Deft has no mana.
Yeah, he's desperately looking for someone to throw some sort of skill shot at him so that he can spell shield it.
Well, it's going to have to be an absolute freak if a fight were to break out, but it doesn't even look like it. They're just going to give up the Infernal.
Yeah, Cube had rotated down, teleport in hand for Rascal, but didn't have his flash and didn't want to go for any fight after what had been a pretty rough one just before around the Rift Herald. Now Kingzone back into farming mode. Teleport to bring Deft back through, and I think respecting item timings is something that you really have to do.
Yes.
At this stage of the game, and that's exactly what Kingzone were doing. Deft goes back now, gets the Zeal, but that was at least 1,300 gold. Sitting in his back pocket doing absolutely nothing. And unfortunately, you can't smack people with your wallet actually in this game. And so having a real heavy one doesn't really do you much good.
So far now, 17 minutes. All of the turrets are still very healthy. We've been seeing this in a few of the last series that have taken place here in the LCK. You're going to have to see when the Rift Herald ends up being used. It looks like Kingzone going for a very cheesy type of pick-off here.
But no one actually going to be coming through here at all.
Yeah.
So they have the vision control, and Gen.G aren't going to give them any way of making their way back through. Deft continues down towards the bottom side, shoving wave after wave into this turret. But so far, a bit of stagnation, and very even when it comes to the Drakes. And Rift Herald should be able to push it even further into Gen.G's favor.
Interesting thing here is they cast it in top lane, and the top tier 1 turret is basically only an economic turret. It's just used to accelerate gold generation. You're never going to win the game through top lane without already having Baron. And so it's really surprising that they didn't elect to use it in mid lane, which is a much more valuable turret for controlling that mid-centric vision, how it can play into later dragon fights or vision around Baron or stalemates in mid, or even bottom lane, because bottom lane turrets are economic turrets because that's the lane with the most valuable inhibitor inside of it.
Yep.
To the furthest proximity from Baron, so...
Peanut in trouble, as this is Kingzone's favorite brush, and Pawn is going to just eradicate the Lee Sin from the Rift. Feels so good as an Akali player to kill Lee Sin.
Yeah.
Because historically, Lee Sin has been the bane of every Akali's existence. Maybe not quite as much anymore since the rework, but always feels good as Pawn. His variety bucket of items paying off in that one.
That is... that's definitely a variety bucket.
Yeah, this is a BBQ broadcast, so variety bucket, not something we want to be endorsing. Taking first turret as Sivir, though, on the bottom side of the map. Well, taking the first turret in your lane, certainly a good feeling as he clears out all the minions, and we'll go back. Let's have a look at this one again. Peanut backing at the wrong time. Yeah, stunned up and destroyed.
This is... I mean, he looked like he wanted to run away. He could have flashed the leap strike, but didn't do that, and then it was all too easy for Kingzone to just bring him down. The good news for Gen.G, however, is that with their Kai'Sa trying to scale up and waiting for maybe the cannon to get online, there is an Ocean Drake coming up, so not a very high priority target for either team to try to take down. But I do have to say, Gen.G, they're only 400 gold ahead. They are even in Infernal Drakes, but this isn't the kind of lead that you would want. Kennen is actually behind the Scion. That's not supposed to be happening.
Yeah, I thought that might have been a visual bug.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Scion and visual bug's certainly a thing, but having the Kennen not with a lead is just insane.
Yeah, and he's not on hit.
We were watching the lane as well. Like, I don't even know, man. Does show, like, one thing I did want to mention about, you know, taking the topside turret first for Gen.G, it does play into what their game plan is going to be, which is get Kennen into team fights. And Kennen can just get rid of a minion wave, especially with the Proto Belt, so he can go up there, tidy things up, not have to worry about a turret pushing that wave back any faster. So he can actually rotate around and get there for these team fights that Rascal's going to be able to with his ultimate anyway. So I do like that for Gen.G. But losing out in CS to a Scion, that's in the cons column. That's straight in the cons column.
Well, not quite sure what they're going to end up doing, because when I was seeing the Kennen pick originally, I was thinking to myself, okay, well, I'm assuming this is going to be on-hit Kennen, and they're going to try to utilize some sort of a split push or a hybrid type of Kennen that would still have split push incentive. But when you itemize Morellonomicon Proto Belt, you're not going to have that option available to you.
Not necessarily.
Here we go.
Oh, in goes Tucson, gets a nice double knock up on the back line. Ice Spawn, not quite enough there, as now Rascal gets a decent knock-up. Pawn dives into the back line, but has the Shroud. Look at the AoE damage! The perfect execution's beautiful, and the headbutt is even better, but the Fear Beyond Death says it doesn't even matter. Ruler decides to go in, and that means Kingzone members start to fall. Rascal's still trying to zombie Scion something, but Kingzone not going to get this team fight.
Yeah, and instead of going immediately over to the Baron when you know that Def doesn't have teleport, he's out of mana and Cuz had to recall, instead they're looking to only capture an Ocean Drake, but no matter how you look at that, Gen.G did just completely turn that on its head. I thought it was going to go a lot better for Kingzone. We'll take a look at it one more time. You can see Gen.G stacking up the brush. Life pokes Cuz, but then multi-man knock-up. You can see Rascal trying to come in here, completely whiffs his Scion ultimate as Pawn waiting just on the other side of the wall. He jumps into the team, followed up there with a multi-man Jax ultimate, but the Kennen able to do a lot of damage, gives Fly the Fear Beyond Death execute onto Pawn, and then it was all too easy for the remaining members to pick up the remnants of the Kingzone team.
Yeah, the problem is that Pawn dives into the backline to try and execute Ruler and failed to do so. Missed a very important Q, actually, going over to see, because honestly, that flank for an Akali was the dream and just didn't quite manage to execute. Time when I thought that things were going to go well for Kingzone was when Tucson held onto the headbutt and got rid of the Kennen when that Slicing Maelstrom was trying to get used, but still did get a fair bit of value out of it, did Cuvée. And now we've got the 2-item spike coming in for Ruler on this Kai'Sa, so a couple of evolutions completed. And the Ginsu's Rage Blade just means that at this point in time, Ruler is actually stronger than Deft, because Deft is waiting for that 3-item spike with the Infinity Edge to come in next. And that's even if he can afford to build Infinity Edge instead of something like a GA to keep him alive in these fights.
Ruler is definitely really, really strong right now. And the itemization for Gen.G is actually quite nice, especially if another team fight would end up taking place in the next few minutes. And you were talking earlier about a dream. Well, I'll tell you about a nightmare.
All right.
All you're going to need to do is zoom in on Pawn's inventory right now, and I'm not quite sure what to make of that.
The variety bucket, dude, it's really getting to us.
That's
right
an identity
now.
crisis if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that. Finally, Gunblade completed.
Oh, there we go. There's
there
one
go.
item, but now we've got to clean up this Hex Drinker, Seeker's Arm Guard, Kindle Gem.
Looks like a clearance
Disaster.
aisle at GameStop or something. I'm not quite sure.
No, but at least now we can find the gem, you know? It's like, oh, there's Sims 3. There we go. That's a good game. All right, cool.
Oh,
I don't know
God.
why I decided Sims 3 was a good game in that example, but there we go.
Waiting on Trinity Force for Cuz. Scion has basically peaked, as he does have the Righteous Glory and the Abyssal Mask now, but Zanya's or Maul of Malmortius or Black Cleaver or Go Next. I'm not quite sure what's going to be the next item, but the problem...
I think a stopwatch would be pretty good.
Yeah, the issue right now that Kingzone has is their champions are all waiting on really core items, whereas Gen.G, they're almost ready to fight again, and this mismatch in timing across the board can end up being really problematic for them, and if they end up botching the next team fight, we're talking maybe 26, 27 minutes into the game, that's a Baron capture, and Kingzone has no way of really resisting Baron because Deft isn't near the items necessary to try to do that.
Well, Pawn's going to do his best to try and take down this top outer turret, has the help of a couple of his friends, but Peanut moving on over and the minion wave dying means that no joy is going to come from that one. Deft has found life. The ruler is there. Winter's Bite not going to hit the Sivir. And we're just trading minion waves. These mid lane outer turrets still stand, relatively healthy for both teams as well. Forward vision for Kingzone will show that ruler is going home. And very defensive vision coming in from Gen.G. They are very much looking to sit back and scale and not do anything for the next few minutes. 2,500 gold is the lead as Pawn has once again found Fly, but Fly not taking too much damage here, especially now with his Spectre's Cowl augmenting his build. Man, that is a defensive summoner choice with the Unsealed Spellbook.
Cleanse Barrier?
Yes.
I'm a fan of Cleanse Ghost.
That is epitomizing Gen.G's playstyle at the moment.
Yeah, it is.
Please don't hurt me.
A barrier heal, maybe. Should be up there,
God,
too.
yeah.
So
The troll Soraka choices.
nice.
I like it. And I know that you're a Soraka fan as well, so... there we
Anything
go.
anti-fun, Atlas. Anything anti-fun.
Oh, and I like this. You've got Pawn picking up the stopwatch like I asked him to, and an Infinity Edge for Deft. So we're talking about item spikes. This is a decent one for Kingzone. Looking over the side of Gen.G, and items are still feeling very good. For them, you've got Ruler heading towards his Runar's Hurricane, but the Void Staff that QV built quite a while ago feels real nice, and especially when Peanut now has the Knight's Vow to make sure that good old Ruler is even stronger.
At this point, it's almost a 3,000 gold lead for Gen.G. And the way that you do have to look at Pawn's build right now, it's basically like he has Zanya's Hourglass. He's not really missing out on AP or armor that completing the item itself would give. So as long as the stopwatch is available and ready to use, you can look at it almost essentially as a completed item. Because wanting to tech spawning, so...
Yeah, it's all of a sudden turned rainy.
It is a rainy day in Seoul,
It is.
actually. It hasn't rained in a very long time.
It hasn't snowed at all as well. And as an Australian, I'm actually really frustrated because I don't get to see very much snow, LS, you know? We've had one day this year, this winter,
Yeah, I know,
one day of
it's
snow.
been really sad.
It's so depressing. I might have to go to a mountain to find snow. That's not what I want to do, you know? Like, this is a place where it actually is supposed to snow when we're at home. And in Australia, it only snows on mountains sometimes, maybe, in winter.
I love snow.
I do too.
I really, really, really do enjoy it.
Do you know what I didn't get to enjoy, LS?
What?
The sound of walking on snow.
Oh, that is a nice sound.
It's a really nice
sound.
sound.
It's a very nice sound.
And as an Australian, we just don't really do it very much.
Well, that is very sad. I
Yeah.
am very sad for you.
Thank you very much. Well,
You know, though, Korea doesn't handle snow very well.
Yeah? What?
It really doesn't.
What do you mean?
If you've ever seen serious snowstorms here, their ability to handle it and clean the back streets and everything.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a plow.
Nope.
You know, I come from the northeast of America, so the second that it starts snowing even a bit, it's like that online game. Is it Pandemic or something? Madagascar shut down everything.
No, I get it. It's just warning lights everywhere.
The plows are ready to go.
Yep. Now, one moment of excitement just happened with Pawn stealing away that Rift Scuttler. Bit of extra vision, bit of extra money for the Akali, who did go straight into Azonia's Hourglass. You mentioned it was as if he finished it. Well, he's actually finished it. And that's good news. Trinity Force is round the corner here for Cuz. Rascal's building up to his next item, which will most likely be that Gargoyle Stone Plate, so he'll be even more removable. And Gen.G have this, like, really interesting window of power, and it's about right now. And so strangely, the team that has been sitting back, wanting to scale, wanting to get some more items, this is about the time where you really want to be fighting again as Gen.G. And Kingzone are wanting to get a Scion that's completely unkillable, a Jax that's basically a solo laner, and Pawn with the ability to insta-kill a Kai'Sa, and that's becoming more and more the reality.
Right. And we're hitting a point where the Baron fight and the Death Timers, if they're just too clean for either team, it just ends the game. We're not even talking about Baron sieges or pushes anymore. The game will actually just end. So this is starting to hit a critical point here.
Deft has got a lot of big swords, LS.
He does.
That's my analysis for his build. Guardian Angel on the way by the looks of things, but
370 farm at 29 minutes.
Yeah. Siv's pretty good at getting red dots.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned. And Deft pretty good at Sivir as well, especially in late game team fights. We'll see whether he can do it this game. Up against Ruler, who's pretty good just at late game team fights on no matter which champion he's on.
Well, here we go. Mid-tier 1 turret finally... Okay, never mind. I thought we were going to go for a siege here.
No.
And you know, nothing else exciting going to happen either. Another Ocean Drake coming up. So Elder is still very, very far away.
Yeah, we could start taking notes.
We're gonna be here all night.
Yeah, on your memoir or something like that. Is there anything that you want to talk about? You know, Peanut's gonna face check, so that's not even an extra auto attack. No worries. Gen.G fighting over Vision with Kingzone, and LS and Atlas feeling like it's almost like a game pause, and we should start the podcast. As Kuz not gonna get hit by the Winter Spite, of course, because that would be proactive. With something happening.
They don't know about Pawn's flank.
Well, if anyone is going to do anything proactive and exciting, it is going to be Pawn. As Ruler finds his way to the front line, but Rascal doesn't even get through his shield. No worries there. This is a big one. Okay, the Scion can land onto only one as Cube just insta-kills Pawn. It's a disaster, actually, as Peanut diving into the backline. Deft can't get any autos. The Fear Beyond Death is well and truly well named here, as Gen.G just fight off what was a Kingzone flank botch and take a Baron.
Yeah, and this Baron isn't gonna be able to be easily resisted. We just talked about that a few minutes ago. Kingzone trying to respond with whatever they can do, which is to eliminate the minion waves and then try to get turrets, but it's not really gonna do anything. And all I'm waiting for, the icing on the cake here is when Kingzone try to kill the Ocean Drake so that Gen.G, who are going to be in the driver's seat, can then pick up the Elder a couple of minutes from now. I'm just waiting for that to happen.
All right, the mistake Dragon take.
Yeah.
You were talking about this yesterday, so intelligent, just going to leave it up. But this is a disaster.
Yeah, let's just take another quick look at the fight. Pawn decides that he wants to jump onto the Urgot in the cannon, not the Kai'Sa or the Lee Sin. So, decision-making there definitely in check. And then after that, Fear Beyond Death able to just be easily capitalized on Tushin. And the rest of the Kingzone members are probably asking, well, where's the question mark pings?
Yeah, I mean, I was watching Pawn and he pressed his ultimate button and died.
Yes.
That was what he did.
Well,
he stutter-stepped a few times as well. That was about it, so...
I actually can't think what the thought process was. He was charging at the cannon in the Urgot. I really don't know. I genuinely wish I could analyze that more, but I think words would fail me, so...
Well, at the moment, Cube has picked up a really cool hat. The best sword in the game is now belonging to Ruler as well as Deft, so this is a 4-item. Kai'Sa is going to be doing approximately a bajillion damage in these team fights. Rascal trying to fend off the Urgot on the bottom side of the map, but just feels like Gen.G will be able to do whatever the heck they want. And And there is no Akali on the map for Kingzone at the moment. Okay, Fly may have bitten off more than he can chew as Cuz does a lot of damage, but Cube's going to come down. Disdain going to bring Rascal back into the two members of Gen.G, but Gargoyle's Stoneplate keeps him alive quite nicely. Now Gen.G like their chances taking this inner turret. So do I. Goes down very easily.
Now, with some of the HP missing from Cuz and Rascal, they're needing to recall, but it does look like the siege is going to close. Teleport, though, coming in from Fly in the mid lane. He did just hit level 18.
Yeah, moves on in. We'll be able to get that outer turret very easily. It's only 4,000 gold, nothing really to write home about, but it just feels like Gen.G have the front-to-back team fights working out in their favor. There are so many options for Kingzone in the late game, but they require what-ifs, you know? It's like, what if Pawn can kill the Kai'Sa in the backline? What if Deft can actually get some ricochets through this team in order to do that AoE damage? And how can Rascal actually get himself the multi-man CCs on the ultimate and the Q in order to make things work? Right now, I mean, that Q is onto a wall.
Yeah.
So that particular example, an example of what's been happening in these fights, honestly. Kingzone not finding the CC required in order to keep down what is some tremendous AoE here from Gen.G.
Well, this isn't actually turning out to be the most threatening Baron push. Top wave wasn't really managed at all, and so they're not getting any value inside of that lane. There was definitely some mismatch in timings with how they're juggling the waves. And okay, well, Pawn making a donation.
Hey, found his Zhonya's button this time, though, as he ults to get onto this minion wave, and Cuvée doesn't have Slicing Maelstrom. Kingzone, if there's a time to fight, it is definitely now, but Gen.G say if there's a time to reset, it's now for us, and they're going to do that. Heading back home, lots of vision available now on the bottom side, but if you're a Kingzone fan, you're going to be happy with the fact that the base is not yet broken. Another Baron buff will be necessary here for Gen.G, most likely.
Elder now coming up in 2 minutes and 35 seconds. Definitely a high priority target for both of these team compositions. If a cannon has Elder and ults into the enemy team,
yeah,
everyone's just going to melt. But likewise, a Sivir with the Elder Dragon is just going to completely evaporate all of the members on Gen.G. So,
another thing, sorry to interrupt, but that is not going to be Black Cleaver Akali, that's going to be Spirit Visage Akali. So double magic resist coming in as the Maw of Malmortius was completed here for Pawn. So
Atlas
not going to get insta-gived as hard by Cuvée.
In the post-game lobby, this would get someone reported in solo queue. That's all that I have to say about that.
Well, look, it's better than a Black Cleaver. We've stepped up, okay?
Quite sure.
Sometimes you got to count your wins for your wins, all right?
Oh, man. Well,
I'm a diehard optimist, my friend. Diehard optimist. You got to look at the positives. At some points, as Pawn at the moment, actually just waiting for Rascal to get ganked, but I don't think he's going to. He's a Scion with ultimate and about as many items as he wants to keep himself alive for long periods of time. Gonna go back home now. We'll see what his fourth item is going to be. It's another stopwatch. This is consumables. We're going for the next fight here. The Kingzone.
Well, Elder and Baron coming up at roughly the same time, and if you're looking at this from Kingzone's perspective, you probably want, if there's going to be a trade, if you don't feel like you could contest either one, you would probably want the Baron more than the Elder, just so that you can hold on and resist the waves. Gen.G, I mean, they'll take either one, really, at this point.
Well, Pawn making an interesting move there, throwing down the Shroud very early. Cuvé's flank is completely given up. Vision available by Kingzone, so they knew that the cannon was looking to try and make his way back in there. You want the winter map if you're going to take the Arctic Ops skin, and apparently you can just see him. Things are absolutely fine. Here is, he's not melding into the snow.
Pawn looking for a flank right now, but not really going to get it as all of the members of Gen.G advance towards the Baron.
Yep, vision going to be available, but if they're counting the blue trinkets, there's not many of them remaining.
Oh, there is a teleport available, though. That one ward that Rascal's spotting right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, they don't know about the Wolf ward.
Yeah, and the cannon is coming in. Now Kingzone actually going to be backing away.
Oh, man.
Vaughn's going to dive into the back of the pit here as the Slicing Maelstrom right on top. Tucson gets Cuvée out of there, though. Still hasn't pressed his ultimate button as the kickback is on to Pawn. Slicing Maelstrom does come out, but immediately he is taken down. Deft, full health in the back line, and this could be the team fight they're looking for. Ruler's going to be taken down. Peanut, the next one on the menu for the Sivir, has a stopwatch to buy some time, but Kingzone are dealing with everyone. A triple kill now for Deft Sivir, and this should be a Kingzone Baron as Rascal flashing on top of Fly. The decimating smash is good for the slow, and Pawn should eventually get rid of the Crab God.
Yeah, well, Fly even using the stopwatch right there. And he goes down as well.
Are we just looking for the win?
Yeah, they're just looking for the win. And this is something I was talking about a little bit earlier, that the death timers are just so high. If a fight goes as clean as it does and multiple members are standing, Kaisa, Sivir, they can both just raise turrets so quickly. And Kingzone, after losing for the majority of the game, turned one team fight around. Cuvée couldn't quite locate his R key. It is quite hard.
In the immortal words of Skara, they were losing until they won. LS, it's exactly what happened. They found a team fight where they were able to deal with the cannon, and then Deft did his auto attack thing. It was a Beyblade arena, and when a Civ is in a Beyblade arena, you're going to be feeling real good about it. And one team fight, and Kingzone were able to take it. But Gen.G, it felt like they had fight after fight where things were working. They were proactively taking Barons, but they weren't able to push that advantage any further. They fall into a trap that Kingzone set up, and despite the Variety Bucket Akali build happening once again, Pawn is going to be victorious this time out.
Pawn's face, though, as he's being talked to right at the end of the game, it looks like mine when I open up the chests. Don't get any good skins. I'm like, what do you mean I didn't do any damage? But
yeah, it's basically just picking up orange essence.
Yeah.
It's what it is.
I love when I get blue essence.
Yeah,
that
I know,
makes me very excited.
Oh my goodness.
Every champ in the game already? Thank you so much.
You're talking about my life for a very long time. It's like when am I going to hit 3 million IP? You know, back in the day. That was my feeling on a lot of my accounts. But that's okay. That is absolutely okay. Kingzone do play to their win condition. They get the late game team fight that was going to work for them on paper. They found it. Pawn actually pressed more than one button in a team fight, and they win.
They ended up winning. I mean, Cuvée there at the end, that was very bizarre. He had a dream cannon flank available to him, and then he just got CC'd after CC'd before he could initiate it, and it cost him the whole fight.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think a lot of that has to do with Tucson being brilliant.
Yeah.
With that particular headbutt, he had a couple of them in the team fights here, and it's another one of these games where it's won, and the team that wins has a gold deficit. 2,000 gold behind, but still able to find the team fight, and you can see 22,000 damage done by the Sivir, the same in the back pocket of the cannon, and that's basically the story of this game. Who was going to be able to find the team fight where they were going to pop off, and in the team fight that mattered, it was Deft. It was the only team fight that happened in favor of Kingzone. But if it happens about 38 minutes in, you're going to win the game.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, Gen.G had so many things go right for them in the mid part of the game.
Yeah.
And they were in great spot, but we'll see what they can do in game number 2, and if they can find themselves in such a spot again.
Exactly right. That is going to be it for game number 1, but still plenty more series around the corner. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We'll see if Kingzone can make it a 2-0 or Gen.G can fight back right after this.
20살, 그것은 치열한 전투. 우리를 억압하는 모든 것으로부터 우리 자신을 지켜낼 뜨거운 혈투. 그게 바로 20살 우리의 캐리, 우리의 버프. 우리 은행이 내일보다 더 빛날 20살 우리의 오늘을 응원합니다.
This is for those who dare to stand up, for those who dare to make a difference. Get ready for battle and join the Republic of Gamers.
이 혹독한 훈련에서 살아남은 의자만이 CDG의 의자가 되니까. 때론 지나친 고집이 정말 좋은 것을 만드니까 의자가 인생을 바꾼다.
CDG